All right, let's start. What do we got? Anything? Anything that's on your mind? Let's hit it.
How's that running back kind of competition going so far between Josh and Tarian?
Well, Dexter too. You know, Dexter's part of that. You know, what we're trying to do is really get Folston back into as much of a competitive environment relative to 11 on 11 teamwork, and you know, he's got some strengths. You know, he runs the inside zone play very well. So you know, when we get into some of our spread offensive sets, you know, he's very, very good at, you know, keeping the ball inside the tackles. You know, we get some box looks that are very favorable. He runs the ball extremely well inside, where Josh is, as you guys know, runs the outside zone extremely well. And Dexter, you know, has the speed that we're looking for. So it's really all three of those guys and balancing their rep work up over the last couple of days.
I was wondering, have you sensed any frustration from Tarian and Malik just because they're kind of coming back from injury and had starting jobs last year and now are in more of a competition for those positions?
No, it's been really for Tarian, you know, just rounding himself back into the physical condition necessary to, you know, play in the offense and getting confidence to make that explosive cut. You know, I think the last time he put his foot in the ground and really, you know, was explosive, he tore his ACL, right? So, you know, getting past that, I think, is where he's more focused. I don't think he's frustrated at all. Malik is still, you know, working through, you know, the strength, and, you know, he's a little tender and sore at times with that ankle. So, you know, today we just worked on his base and getting his base back in there. But, no, I don't sense a frustration. He's a competitive kid. But I don't think for 1 second, regardless of what he said to everybody here, that he was going to be handed a job. I think he knows me well enough that people are going to compete for jobs here.
How was Tarian being able to sit out all of last year? Have you seen any mental progress that he's made, just becoming a smarter football player during the offseason, heading into these spring practices?
I never felt like he wasn't one of our smarter players. You know, it's always been about, for him, you know, attention to detail, you know, physical conditioning, strength, all of those things, and, you know, take care of, you know, all of those things, and being in the best physical condition that he can be. And I think he's working hard at it. He's made great progress in the weight room, and I think, you know, the realization that this game is one where you are being challenged now by some younger players has really been good for him. I think the competition has brought out the best in him.
He was also able to be a pretty good mentor to CJ and Josh and Dexter all of last year.
I think so, yeah, I really do. I think he's been a positive influence. You know, when he was hurt, he was around. He traveled with us. So I don't think the transition was easy for him, certainly. There were things that he could have done better, but I think overall he did the things that I wanted him to do to be a better teammate, and he did, and I'm happy where he is right now.
At the start of spring, at least we were impressed at Corey Holmes' 40 time. Has he been able to start to translate that speed to football stuff on the field?
That's a good question. You know, there's track speed and there's inline, straight line speed, and then there's, you know, quite frankly, football speed. And I think that's been the struggle with Corey in the first couple of years, is to get that to translate, and through playing fast and playing with confidence. And I think he's gaining that. He's gaining the confidence, and we're seeing definitely a different football player. He's not Will Fuller speed yet, certainly, although he runs at the same speed. He's not playing at that same speed yet. I think he's capable. He's certainly not there yet, but he's moving and trending in the right direction.
Brian, on the right side of the line, is that starting to become more clear? And on the left side, are you starting to see?
The left side is crystal clear.
Yeah. The right side on the first part.
No, I know. I was answering the easier question.
Okay, yeah. My question is, on the left side, are you starting to see the dominant run that you're
Those two
focused
players
on?
are really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Mike's been our most efficient blocker, and Quentin is in the best physical shape that he's been in. He moves extremely well for 346 pounds. He's a rare football player. Moves well, physically strong, knows his assignments. We're very, very fortunate there. And Sam's been really good. So, those three guys are really, really solid football players for us. And we love the competition that is going on the right side. And today we want to get Hunter Biven now over the next probably 4 or 5 periods or practices, and then in particular the periods where there's team competition, we're getting him some guard work. And then we want to kick bars out to some tackle work because we're still in a very competitive mode there on the right side. So it's just exciting, to see all these guys compete. There's good football players on the right side. We're just, we're still not there in terms of who's going to be where at those positions.
You mentioned Will Fuller's speed. Do you see anybody out there right now that can give you that to stretch the field and become that kind of a player?
Well, Torrey Hunter would be that guy right now. I think he's got top-end speed, elite speed, that he can compete, with the very best in the country. So, we think Corey is trending that way. He's not there yet. He's got to play with more confidence and attack the football a little bit more aggressively. But, Torrey Hunter would be a guy right now that we think that can continue to grow into that position. Those two guys have the skills necessary. And, Stefferson, I hate to put a lot on a freshman, but right now he is an outstanding ball catcher. Maybe our best right now in terms of catching the football.
Corey Robinson on the bike again. It's been
Yeah.
more than a week. How is he progressing?
Well, we're going to get an evaluation with a specialist to make sure that we're, covering all the bases with him. He's had a couple of concussions. So, we want to do everything that we can to get him all the information necessary, so we don't put him in a position where he, doesn't feel comfortable getting back on the field. So we'll do that next week, and then I think we'll have him in a better position relative to, making a decision to get back on the field.
Seeing Romeo Quara practice today, you're going to have a new rush end. It looks like Trembetti is kind of dug in there, and I think he said in bowl practices he's actually more comfortable there than where he's had to play in the past.
Yeah.
How has he looked so far?
Good. We just got to get him to cut it loose. He's still a little bit, at times we'd like to just see him go. There's just a little bit of apprehension at times, and, that's just confidence. But he's doing some good things. We just need to see it on a more consistent basis. We got some more activity out of Dalen Hayes today. He was in some skelly and a little bit of pass rush. He's a good-looking kid. We'll continue to work him. Jay Hayes is doing some good things for us. We're seeing some more consistency now that he's at a position where he feels a lot more comfortable. So that position continues to evolve for us as well.
Contact enough, getting full contact with that shoulder, Dalen Hayes.
We're being very cautious, and he's got a shoulder that we want to make sure is in a position that we're not pushing him in spring ball that would get any laxity at all. So he's on the harness. We're going to pick our spots with him. We're going to put him in a position where we can see some things from him, but I don't think we're going to overdo anything and put him in a very competitive situation.
You guys
I
still,
remember the day when the defensive assistants were in, the talk with Niles was that the next step for him was to bring people with him. How does that translate? What does that look like? What do you want to see in that vein?
He's a physical player, so bringing that physicality, to every practice and that physical toughness to our defense. Joe Schmidt was a smart player. It was a heady player, but he wasn't the most physically gifted player that we have. Niles Morgan is a tough physical football player, and so what we've asked him to do is to be himself. You're not Joe Schmidt, but he's doing a great job of getting us lined up. Now that you've got that, and that's not an issue in front of him, be who you are, and he's a physical, tough player. We want that personality to come out, and if that does, you'll bring others around you, and that toughness will start to show itself.
You guys have about 2 weeks to go before the spring game. Just as an overall team, where do you want to see the biggest areas of improvement?
You know, we're, you know, I'd say more than anything else, the receiver group, the young guys, to continue to progress and gain some consistency there. You know, I would say, you know, for a competitive standpoint, offensively, continue to run the ball effectively. You know, we want to run the ball effectively, offensively with 2-3 quarterbacks, different quarterbacks in there, and 3 running backs. And then defensively, cornerback, safety play, we're a little thin at the linebacker position. And then we've got a slew of D linemen that we want to continue to see develop. We got a lot of work with those guys. And so spring ball is really development of that defensive line and defensive backfield on the defensive side.
When you saw Scout last year looking at I guess, goal line and red zone, did you see something that you wanted to change? Are you doing anything different to get better results?
Are you referring to the defense or the offense? Well, you know, we had a young quarterback, you know, who saw some things for the first time. You know, the red zone requires a efficiency relative to throwing the football or, you know, running the ball. And I think what we tried to do a little bit later in the year, which was more effective, was running the football. You know, we turned the ball over against BC, but we were trying to run the ball later in the year to help our quarterback. And I think that that's what we went to. Thought we were effective and efficient against Stanford trying to run the ball. When we threw it, we weren't. So red zone efficiency is running the football and having a quarterback who is experienced down in that zone. And so it's not really scheme down there as much as quick decisions, you know, being efficient, accurate, and then having a really good running game. Good.
Spencer Perry got a little work with the dime. What have you seen from him this time?
You know, he's a long athlete. You know, we're trying to find a spot for him right now, and just giving him some different, you know, opportunities. But you know, he's young. He's developmental in terms of, you know, picking up the position right now. We really like him, but it's going to take some work. You know, we're going to need some more time with him. We just want to see him in different positions right now.
What have you seen from the progress of Equanimeous, especially after the shoulder surgery and just getting aligned at Will's old position? Or is he moving around?
We're moving him around. We've had him at W quite a bit. Torrey's kicked out to the X position. We wanted to see Torrey out more at the X. And EQ more at the W. We like the size at the W position more because of the short field matchups that you get there. I think with EQ, what I like about EQ is obviously his speed and size, you know, the physical traits, and he's really smart. He picks up the entire offense. He's got to be a more consistent ball catcher. That's what we've got to get from him. And I think if he attacks the ball a little bit more aggressively, those are the areas that he needs to improve on. But really like his smarts, like his physical conditioning, and love his skill set in terms of his size. But attacking the football is what we're working on right now.